Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah if you are new here, and today I'm sharing another recipe video with you. This is going to include 3 pasta recipes. Pasta is fairly inexpensive and easy to make, so it's a really good idea, especially when grocery prices are going up, to kind of stretch your grocery budget a little bit. Plus, it makes a lot of food for cheap. So the first recipe I'm sharing is a pizza pasta bake. I started by boiling some noodles. We used rotini noodles, but you could use whatever short noodle you like. And then you would normally cook up some ground beef, but we had spaghetti a few days before this, and so we had some leftover sauce in the fridge that I wanted to use up. And then you put in 1 jar of pizza sauce and some cut up pepperoni. If I did not have the leftover spaghetti sauce, I would definitely add in 2 jars of the pizza sauce, just because you don't want it to get too dry. And then you add in a little bit of shredded mozzarella cheese, and this does get baked. So I have a 9x13 casserole dish here. I just poured it in, and I did grease the pan, and I laid it out evenly and topped with some more cheese, and then baked this covered for 15 minutes and then uncovered it for another 10 minutes to melt the cheese. Everything is cooked, but you want to warm everything back through just to make sure it's nice and warm and bubbly. And then we served this with a Caesar salad and some garlic bread. This made a lot of leftovers too. I put the extras in some meal prep containers that we actually kept in the freezer so that my dad and my husband could take it to work for lunches. So it worked out really well with how much food was here. The next recipe that I am making is a cheesy chicken pasta. This was really good. So you need some shredded white cheddar, and I couldn't find any shredded, so I just went ahead and got a block of cheese and shredded it myself with this really nice shredder that I have. And then I cut up some chicken, and my tip for you in the kitchen is to use scissors whenever possible. Cutting chicken can be kind of tedious, especially if you have to cut them into small cubes like you do for this recipe. And so kitchen scissors work amazing, and it's also easy then to trim off all of the fat and pieces that you don't want. Then you're going to add a little bit of oil to a skillet and cook up your chicken. And the seasonings for this are some ground mustard, some dried thyme, some oregano, and then you can also do salt and pepper if you would like. And you just want to cook that all the way through. After it's been cooked, you will remove it from the pan and add in some butter and let the butter melt. Then you're going to add in a couple tablespoons of flour to soak up that butter, and this is you're going to be making a roux. Once the flour has soaked up all of the liquid, you're going to add in the liquids to make your sauce. The recipe calls for white wine, but we don't drink alcohol even when I'm not pregnant, so I didn't want to buy a whole bottle of wine to only use a 1/4 cup of it, so I actually just used chicken broth instead. And then you add in some Dijon mustard, and then it calls for whole milk, but I had some half and half in the fridge that I wanted to use up, so I used part half and half and then the rest of the measurement of whole milk. And you just want to add in these liquids a little bit at a time, because if you do add them too fast, your sauce is going to break. So you add a little bit, get it mixed up really well, add a little more, and repeat that process until all of your liquids are added. After that's all added, you're going to add in all of that cheese, so the entire 8-ounce block of cheese that we shredded, goes into this and mix that up. And then the recipe calls for fresh thyme, but I didn't want to buy a whole thing of fresh thyme just for one recipe, so I just added dried thyme and then some red pepper flakes. And I just added a little bit because I didn't want it to be too spicy, but I definitely could have added more. And then your chicken goes back into your sauce. And while I was making the sauce, I was also boiling noodles. I used macaroni noodles for this. You then just add your noodles in. I don't have a clip of that, but you add in your noodles and mix it all together. This also made a ton of food, and we did freeze this in the meal prep containers as well, so that again, it's like a homemade freezer meal for my dad and my husband, or when baby comes, which will be very soon, we also have some meals in the freezer so that I don't have to worry about cooking. And then we serve this with some green beans and some garlic bread. The last recipe I'm sharing with you are some lasagna roll-ups. This is a fun way to do lasagna that's a little different. So I got some garden vegetable sauce and put a little bit in the bottom of an 8x8 baking dish. And then I had browned up some hamburger with Italian seasoning and added a little bit of the sauce to that, but not all of it. And then I have a container of cottage cheese, and to it I am adding some basil, oregano, parsley, and pepper, and just mixing that up. And I should have put it in another bowl so that it would mix easier, but I was trying not to make more dishes. And then I cooked up some lasagna noodles and I cooled them down with cold water. And to make the roll-ups, you just take a lasagna noodle and then you put your ricotta cheese mixture on top, and then put some of your meat mixture on top, roll it up, and put it in your baking dish. And I just continued that process until the baking dish was full. And the last row, you'll see that they look a little smaller, and that's because I had a couple noodles that broke, so they weren't quite as big, but it worked out because it fit in the pan a lot better. And then once all of your roll-ups are made, I just poured the rest of the jar of the pasta sauce on there and spread it around. And then I covered it with an Italian blend shredded cheese. And I baked this for about 15 minutes at 350. And that was just to warm everything up and then melt that cheese on the top. We just ate this as is. Like, this is the only thing that we had this night because they were pretty filling. But that is everything that I have to share with you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you can make some of these cheaper pasta meals to kind of stretch your grocery budget and have a delicious meal for your family. Before you go, don't forget to subscribe, like this video. Down in the description, there will be a playlist of all of my grocery hauls and my recipe videos. So if you need some more meal inspiration, you can definitely check that out. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.